Hey, hello, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we created this show for you because we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you have a voice, you have a community, and you are not alone. And to that end, I want to introduce you to my guest. She is awesome. Her name is Faith, and I can't wait for you to meet her. I'm gonna read a little intro for her. She's awesome. She is a trauma-informed recovery coach who specializes in post-narcissistic stress disorder. Wow. She advocates for educating victims, law enforcement, judicial systems, mental health professionals, emergency responders, and society in general in about narcissistic abuse and the path to recovery. This is huge. I feel like everybody knows somebody that has been affected by a narcissistic, experience, with somebody they know or somebody they're related to or something. So this is going to be huge. After her own 4-year relationship with a malignant narcissist, Faith is able to shed light on what narcissistic personality disorder truly is. I mean, experience is the best teacher, unfortunately. It's rooted in a coercive control and goes far deeper than what people may perceive. So she has recently published a book that I cannot wait for her to tell you about. It's going to be awesome. It's an amazing personal narrative that talks about how Faith was finally able to make her escape. I'm going to let her tell the story. I don't want to get too much into it because she tells it better. So, but I will say Faith's sole mission in life is to empower victims of narcissistic behavior to find a way out, heal, and thrive, which I absolutely love. So, all right. Hey, welcome, Faith. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, this is so cool. Unfortunately, this is such a necessary show.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, I think everybody knows somebody that either is a narcissist or has had to live with or escape from a narcissist, so it's a bigger problem than I ever imagined. But can you please share just some of the initial challenges that you faced while you were in that relationship with a narcissist?
I think you're so right. I think everybody, like you said, knows of somebody with a narcissist. Yeah. I've been a social worker for 20 years, and I had heard the term casually thrown around, narcissist.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I realized that I was in my own relationship with a narcissist, like the degree to what kind of an illness it really truly is. Like, it's a real thing. Yeah. And the definition is people that believe they're superior to everyone else. They lack empathy. They're not able to see the needs of others, but it's so much more manipulative and calculating like that. Like they have hidden agendas. They really just walk all over people. They're abusive, like mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically abusive. Like it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, none of that's good. It's that's a terrible way. That's a terrible thing to live with. I'm just going to throw this out there to everybody in the audience that's watching right now. If anybody has any questions about, anything in this realm, we don't need specifics or anything. I know with, especially, in some cases with narcissists, a lot of people don't even want to be known that they're asking a question. So anonymity is totally fine. If you have questions though, here you go. You've got her for the next 45 minutes. Have at it. Ask away. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching somewhere that you can send a message, please do. That's why we're doing this show. So, yeah, and we'll be able to, we'll answer questions as best we can. So, anyway, so can you just share a kind of a layman's definition of what a malignant narcissist is?
So a malignant narcissist, there's a few levels of narcissism. It's like at the absolute far end, like the worst possible.
Okay.
I mean, they have rage. They have like really bad intentions. Mm-hmm. If you have an opinion other than the one they give you, or they have like this desire to like destroy you, if that makes sense. And
yeah. So so that's malignant narcissist. So there's varying degrees. Like what I mean, I'm sure it ranges widely, right? I mean,
yeah. So you have like the covert narcissist who doesn't really like to be the center of attention, but still they're manipulating, they're dishonest. Whereas the malignant one loves to be the center of the universe. And if you don't give them the attention and adoration, and they love to be like in the spotlight.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I can't help but notice malignant. That's a very graphic term in my mind, because it paints a picture of like the only other place I've ever heard the word malignant is with cancer like tumors, right? Exactly. So like benign is like not harmful, right? But malignant is, right? Exactly. So I'm guessing there's a parallel there, like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Malignant narcissism. It's like actively doing harm kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Okay. Very, very toxic, very dangerous. Erodes our self-esteem, our self-worth, like steals our identity. Like I didn't even know who I was anymore at the end of my 4-year relationship. I was just a shell of myself. I had lost 30 pounds. I wasn't able to show up for my boys. I was just like a zombie, like living on autopilot. And it was just, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy at all.
No, that's awful. In your journey, during your journey through some of this, what were some of the red flags that made you realize, hey, this is toxic. This is a relationship I probably need to remove myself from. And how did you overcome the denial, that was there to get that out of there?
It did. It took me a long time to see. I just started noticing that whenever I went to say something, like I was given the silent treatment, or like there was just anger and rage that came from him. Or if I didn't agree with something that he wanted to do, or if I wanted to go out with friends for dinner, like that was absolutely not allowed. Like silly things like taking a bath. I was allotted like a 7-minute window because everything had to be about him. And if I did any kind of self-care, it was taking away from him. So like my needs, my wants, everything went on the back burner, and just constantly walking on eggshells. And he wanted me to text him immediately when he texted me back. When he texted me, he needed to know where I was at all times. So much so that he put a tracker in my car. He was monitoring my emails, my phone calls. I even found out afterwards there was hidden recorders in the house. So he was videotaping me. It was just awful. He put a tracker on the garage door, so he knew like when I came and when I left, and just control.
Honestly, that sounds exhausting. I mean, for you, that's got to be. I mean, you didn't know some of this, so I bet. I mean, that had to have been a wake up call afterwards. But I mean, for him, like, I'm just trying to. I'm trying. I don't want to be in his brain. I don't want to be in his head or anything. But because that sounds terrifying. But I'm trying to figure out like how. It sounds exhausting. Like to keep track of all that and to keep up on that, and to be obsessing over all that and constantly have all this going on. And like, did he like, you don't have time for a job after that or something? Like, seriously,
you are completely right. I've always thought, and I say in my book, like how miserable it must be to be in his own head, like his own brain. Like exhausting. You're right, to like check the cameras and then read the phone history. And then, I mean, I was emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine like the level of insanity that goes on in narcissists' brains.
I mean, honestly, that almost. I mean, I know this wasn't the same mental issue in this movie, but you've seen A Beautiful Mind, right? Like that, it almost reminds me of that, because like he was. I mean, it was fully consuming. You know, in that movie, it wasn't just something he could turn on or off, or or it was all consuming and all encompassing, and it was him. It wasn't just a part of him. It was him. Is that pretty accurate? Like, is that it's all just
absolutely? Because I would try to keep the peace, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm sorry if in my head I'm thinking whatever perceived slight, it must have been this time, but let's salvage the weekend. I don't want another week. And he would never be like, all right, you're right, and like hug me. It was always like he had to prove a point, and he had to hold on to that anger, and it was exhausting. It was exhausting.
That's crazy. And so did you see anybody? I mean, was he like your world then? I mean, that sounds like that was the only thing you ever got to do, was hang out with him.
Exactly.
You couldn't go anywhere else, right? I mean,
I couldn't go anywhere else. Slowly, I cut all my family out, all my friends out. I was basically like just completely isolated, which is how narcissists want you, right? So they can like the lions, they segregate their prey, right, when they're most vulnerable and away from. So
yeah. It almost, what it almost sounds like. I'm such a movie nerd, so forgive me. I'm bringing up another movie, but have you ever seen the movie? It's a comedy, but this isn't funny. But the comedy, this is what I'm bringing up. But have you ever seen the movie What's Up, Doc?
No.
Way back in the day, it was like Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal, and it's a really cute movie. But there's a spot in there that what you were talking about, it reminded me of. And there's this spot where somebody is trying to accidentally trip somebody so they can help them up, so they can do, it was like a planned thing,
Yes.
and so it gets to the point where he's just like running in front of her and tripping her just so he can help her back up,
Wow.
And it's like the part in the movie is kind of like, it's funny. It's kind of like, facepalm, funny. It's like, but that's what that kind of reminds me of, what you're talking about. It's almost like he's knocking you down just so he can have that involvement, and not have you don't get to have your own experience. He's got to be part of all of it,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
my goodness.
And then he'd try to make me feel like I was going crazy.
Right.
For
Yeah.
like example, I'd leave something in the room and I'd go somewhere, I'd come back and I'd be like, have you seen my phone or whatever other object? And he'd be like, no. So I'd go looking around the house, I'd come back and it was right there.
Ooh.
He'd give me that look like, you're losing it. You're losing it. You really do need mental help. So like the guy tripping and helping up, I was like, maybe I am sick. And this guy like sees it and I don't, and he's trying to get me help. And yeah, just utter insanity.
So that's almost like the ultimate torturous invisible condition right there. That's like, because nobody sees that. I mean, if you were to be walking in the grocery store or walking in the mall or whatever with him, like you would never see that, right? I mean, are there any sign? I mean, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should ask, is there something that somebody could look at and go, I wonder if that's what's going on there. Should I help, kind of thing. I don't know.
From the outside, he was a super charming, charismatic man, like generous and funny, and just gave the crowd like what they wanted to see. And so a lot of people wouldn't believe me when I would tell them things. They'd be like, but he's such an honorable man. But people closest to me started to catch on. And this is when I started to realize, because they wouldn't hear from me anymore. They wouldn't see me. When they did see me, I was always really stressed out and like circles and skinny. So the people who really knew me finally, but it took them a couple of years before they really could see what was going on.
Oh, man. Well, and I mean, the fact that you lost, what'd you say, 30 pounds? I mean, 30 pounds. That's
30 pounds.
That's a lot. I mean, for somebody, even if you're overweight by 30 pounds, which, that's a lot. But if you're not and you drop that 30 pounds, I mean, that's got to be noticeable. That, if nothing else, that had to have been alarming to your friends and family, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whenever I would see them, like say if I was dropping my son off at school and there was a mom there that I was friends, she'd be like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, right. And that's when I was like, no, I'm not okay. I'm actually really terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what was the response to that? I mean, what you would, I mean, I'm guessing there was probably a time where you couldn't even say that because you were right? Because you were in so much denial of your true condition that you were in, because he had convinced you, but once you started to figure it out, did you finally get to the point that it was like, okay, now I can speak up. I can say yes,
I finally did. There's a phenomenon called blindness betrayal that sort of keeps us in relationships that we know aren't good for us because we're like attached to that person. We're trauma bonded. We don't really want to see like what's going on, but it got to the point where I no longer respected myself. Like I'd look at myself in the mirror and I was like, why is this happening to you? So then, yes, one day I finally opened up to one of my girlfriends and I just told her a little bit of what was going on. And she just gave me a hug and we both just broke down crying. And it felt so like freeing to finally get this off my chest and tell somebody else. And she's the one actually who told me about narcissistic personality disorder because she had been watching a documentary and everything she was described my ex to a T.
Yeah.
I went and I just scoured the internet and blogs and podcasts. And literally I was Googling and I had to throw my phone because I was like, oh my God, this is him. Like this is him to a T. So it was all very earth-shattering to finally realize I was in fact being abused. Like even though it wasn't physical, there's this new term that's in the definition of domestic violence, which is coercive control, which women are able to now get restraining orders. So for example, the emotional abuse, the psychological, the mental, all the invisible things that you can't see, that nobody else can see, but it's a scar and pain that we carry inside of us. But yes, that's the perfect example of an invisible condition.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of restraining order, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but we're going to go to a break real quick. I think this is a good breaking point to to take a short break. We're going to go to a commercial real quick, and then we're going to come back, talk more about your story and how you've navigated this. And yeah, stick around, everybody. This is an important thing that we need to get out there. So please stick around. We'll be back after a couple of minutes. We'll see you soon.
The Club eFit Home Portable Gym System is a groundbreaking new system that can help everyone at any fitness level. You can be the happy, fit person you always wanted to be, and Club eFit can make that happen by helping you get the body you deserve in the time you can spare. With workouts ranging from cardio, core, to total body toning, it's easy to get started. Start taking care of you today. To make the change, go to clubefit.com now.
My name is Adriana Morrison, host of the Health Revolution TV show. Join us Tuesdays and Thursdays live, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where our mission is simple: engaging conversations, elevating health and wellness, empowering transformation. Right here on the Achieve TV channel on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around and continuing with our guest here, who has an amazing story. And I'm kind of catching my breath from that first part, honestly. That is, I mean, I only have experience with, narcissist behavior from one person. I've only ever known one that was a real true, I mean, maybe not to the degree that your ex-husband was, but very close. And so all the things you're saying right now is, it's like, wow, yeah, check.
Mm-hmm.
Going down the list, it's terrifying how this develops, So after escaping that toxic relationship. Well, first of all, let's talk about that for a second, because you had gone through so many years of this, and you said you had a son,
Mm-hmm.
right, in the midst of during this marriage, and then one point it was like, we got to get out of here, we got to go.
Mm-hmm.
What was the realization there that was like the final, like the aha light bulb moment that was like, get me out of here? And then how did that, tell us about that day?
Well, things started getting really bad really quickly, less predictable. He went one day to punch me, and thank God I ducked in time. So I was like, all right, this is getting bad. And then one day, I think I hadn't texted him back immediately or something. So he was just looking at me and he goes, at any time I can put eye drops in your drink, right? And I was like, what? I didn't understand what that meant. I just felt very unsettled. Like 2 days later, I'm watching Dateline in bed, and the episode was of a nurse who poisoned her husband by putting eye drops in his drink.
Oh, geez.
So eye drops have something called tetrahydro something, that it's a blood constrictor. That's why we put it in our eyes, to get rid of the red. But when you consume it, it starts to decompress everything, and it slows down your breathing, and eventually you pass away. So I was like, the fact that exists, and then he's like threatening it. It was just bad. One night I did, that night that he tried to punch me, I ran into the bathroom to call somebody, and he had shut off my cell service because everything was in his name.
Sure.
When he finally went downstairs to the basement, I went to get my car keys and he hid those. So I'm trapped in his house, no car, no cell phone. I was like, there's no way I'm leaving my son. So I didn't. No. And then maybe like a week later, I was in bed and he was just enraged. And he's like, you're not sleeping in this bed. You're not welcome in this house. He's like, get the F out. So I was terrified. He was like in my face, spitting, screaming. I went up to a guest bedroom and I locked the door. And then like 5 minutes later, he's knocking. I'm like, can you please leave me alone? He busts in the door. He's like, I just want to let you know that I'm taking our son away tomorrow.
Oh.
And I was like, what? Where? He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, you're just too unfit mentally to be a mother. So I need to protect him.
Oh, gosh.
That was it. That was all I needed to hear. I called one of my friends and I was like, can you please come pick me up at 3 a.m? Like, pull into the driveway with your headlights off. So that way I will know it's you. And I'm just going to grab my son from his bed and just run. And she's the one that she had given me a hug like a few weeks earlier. So she knew. She didn't even question it. So I have never been that scared in my entire life.
Yeah.
I sat there rocking my son, trying not to wake him up. And as soon as I saw the headlights, like the lights shut off, I just grabbed him and I ran. And the next morning I called my lawyer and he said, you did the perfect thing. If you felt threatened or your son felt threatened, like you felt your son was threatened, then absolutely. So I was able to go to the court and get a restraining order. And there, the coercive control, it was because of Jennifer's law. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
No, what's that?
There was two women, Jennifer Dulos and Jennifer Magnano. So I believe it was October 2020. Jennifer Dulos went missing. She had 5 children. She was married to a narcissist. She kept reaching out to the police. He's been threatening me. I'm fearing for my life. And they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. So she was presumed dead, and her husband later committed suicide. The same thing happened with a woman, Jennifer Magnano. She was forced to testify in court against her abusive husband, and he shot and killed her in the parking lot in front of her kids.
Oh, jeez.
So thank God this law is now in effect in their honor, because both of them, it was mainly emotional, psychological, all of that coercive control. So in honor of them, they've added that into the domestic violence definition. So,
oh my goodness. So, geez. So, okay. Sorry, that's crazy. Okay, so
it's a lot.
I'm kind of surprised. I know he didn't have that gun in the courtroom, right? He must have got, like, he had to get that out in the car. Like, that's crazy. I'm just running through this in my head. Like, how would that even happen? You know, that's unbelievable.
I just,
okay.
Law enforcement needs to be trained to recognize the signs. Like the same with Gabby Petito. She was eventually strangled by her abusive boyfriend. And she too, like, went to the police for help, like, and they did nothing. So it is my sole mission to give women who don't have a voice to speak and shed light on this terrible thing that a lot of people don't truly understand how insidious and dangerous it actually is. Like, it goes so much more than like egocentric or arrogant, or it's deadly. It really is.
Yeah.
Deadly.
I mean, puffing up your chest and feeling like you're all that in a bag of chips is one thing, but being abusive and neglectful and straight up, I mean, that is a whole nother level that I don't think a lot of people understand. I mean, like you said, there's just not a lot of, there's a lot of movies even about a lot of other things, but really that nothing touches that. Like, you don't see hardly any media attention devoted to that, or any kind of, Yeah. So, oh my gosh, what a mission. That is a mission. That's a tall order right there is what it
It
is.
is. It sure is, but it is definitely my soul mission. Like if I can take one silver lining out of my experience, it's to help other people, women in particular, because 85% of narcissists are men, to help them recognize the red signs, to help them realize they are not the crazy ones, to help them know they can get out and they can heal and they can thrive. It's not going to be easy. It's going to hurt like hell. It's probably the scariest, most painful thing I've ever been through in my entire life. So yeah, if I can help, even if it's just one person, then my mission is complete.
Wow, that is so speaking of that, helping just one person. I mean, obviously you want to help millions, but
Of course.
millions and millions of them. But tell us about the turning your experience. I mean, you've had so much terrible experience with this in your life, but yet you have turned it into something good. You've turned it into something awesome in the way of being a recovery coach. Tell us about that and how you're doing that and helping people.
I realized that I had to like love myself first and be confident. And like Janis Joplin said, don't compromise yourself. You're all you've got.
Right.
Very wise words. And I just know from experience how I was able to get out and the pain that I was going through and be able to thrive, and to find growth in it. I help people realize their self-worth and realize that there's so much more to life. Like it is our birth-given right to be happy and healthy and be loved unconditionally. So when these women are able to get back to themselves, that's when the true healing starts. I urge them to do yoga and meditation and hobbies and hang out with loved ones, and that it is possible to get out and to heal.
Man. Well, and when you said when you were saying that, I was all of a sudden, I don't know why, but there's a line in the Constitution that popped into my head for some reason. It's just about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Yeah.
Those are the three guaranteed, inalienable rights guaranteed by our Creator, right? It's not like the U.S. is granting us this, these are things that are guaranteed by our Creator, by God. These are things that you are entitled to. And so, yeah, to be able to help people to realize that and that's huge.
Yeah.
Man. So what strategies have you found most effective for helping people to kind of overcome and move past and, all that post-narcissistic post-narcissistic stress disorder? That's a mouthful. That's a lot. And so how can somebody like rebuild their life after that? How do you coach somebody in that?
Well, the first thing is talking about it, like giving our feelings a name, honoring our experience. Like we cannot outrun our feelings. We need to be the buffalo and just charge straight into them. We need to relive them in a healthy, safe way, which we do, just to go back and relive the memories and sights and smells. And it takes away some of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the hold that it has on us. Like it desensitizes our experience. The more we talk about it, the more we go to that ugly, ugly place and revisit that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it releases it from you. Like it,
Exactly.
Yeah. Like when I'm trying to think of the right term too, but yeah. Once it's gone, it has no hold on you. Yeah. It has no control over you. It's almost like you're hovering over it, watching it, but you're not in it anymore.
And we realize that it's something that happened in the past and it's over and it no longer controls us in our present day.
Nice. Yeah. That's huge. Cause that could really hold somebody up from like doing anything. I mean, you could just, yeah. I mean, Oh my gosh. So given that mission, given your mission that you have to empower victims and people that have may try to make it through this, could you just what success stories do you have? Let's hear some good stuff. You got some success stories?
Yes. I've helped women realize, that they are in unhealthy relationships. I've helped them make the change. Like the shift first has to come in your mind, where you realize the
Yeah.
person you thought you knew and loved never actually existed. And that's the brutal takeaway. That was the toughest part for me. Because I love this person. We were supposed to grow old together. We had a baby together. And then all of a sudden, the mask comes right off. And so, yes, empowering women to help them move out of the house, to find peace within themselves. I always tell them to be very, very loving with their children, because they've also been through the horrible battle. So they need love more than ever. I tell them to practice self-compassion, to give themselves grace, because it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not a linear healing. It's very circular, and some days are good, some days are going to be horrible. I tell people, you know what, just get up every day and get out of bed. It's going to be terrible, but just keep going. Try to just get up, and it will be okay. It will take some time, but it will be okay. I think a lot of people can't necessarily do it without professional help. I think people absolutely can. I just think it's very helpful to get professional help, because this is a lot for us to hold on our own.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and sometimes, I mean, you don't even see it. I mean, if you're in so deep in it, like in the midst of it, in the thick of the worst of it, you have to almost have somebody that reaches in and just pulls you out of it, because you can't. I mean, it's almost impossible to see that when you're in the middle of it.
When you're the frog in the boiling water, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the water that gradually gets right. If you drop a frog in boiling water that's already boiling, it's like, whoa, get me out of there.
Exactly.
But yeah. Set them in cool water and heat it up gradually. Yeah, that whole analogy. Yeah, totally.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, then you have to have somebody to pull you out. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
My goodness. Well, we're gonna go to one last break before the end of the show, the last part of the show. But I have one other question that I'm going to ask you on the other side of the break, and then we're going to talk about possibly one of my favorite subjects, and that's hope, because that's got to be part of all of this. There's got to be hope. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that on the other side of the break. Everybody stick around. Don't go anywhere, and we will see you on the other side of the break. Hey everybody, I wanted to just for a second there, I'm gonna just highlight one of our favorite people that we have the honor of being part of the show, and that is they're called The Porch, and it is a coffee space in Portland, Oregon, which, by the way, Portland's pretty cool. If you've not been there, it's pretty cool. And it is a space where you can show up and be seen. The Porch is a nonprofit that is there to provide training and opportunity to those who, are sometimes overlooked in our community, for whatever reason. I don't know if they just don't look like the rest of us, or they don't act like what I'm talking about, right? The part of society that we don't talk about. Well, those are the people that they love to help. And coffee is an amazing, beautiful vessel for that. And so they have done such an amazing, beautiful job of integrating those two. And it crosses all bounds, and it enables the ability to preserve dignity through the act of generous hospitality and building relationships with your neighbors. And you can be a part of that. You can be a part of that story wherever you live, anywhere in the country, by going to their website, which is right here, theporchcoffeepdx.com. There's a QR code. You can scan that, go right to the website. By the way, their coffee is phenomenal. I'm a coffee nerd, and I love good coffee. And this one right here is my new favorite. There, it's Kenya beans from Kenya, and if you like good coffee, this is the place you want to get it. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there, and please go read the story of the Porch and go order some coffee. Christmas is coming. It's coming. New Year's is coming. This is a wonderful gift idea. So check it out. Just wanted to get that out there, and I am going to bring Faith back, and we are going to keep on going here, because man, there's a lot to that story, man. I'm still a little out of breath here, but as somebody who, first I'm going to ask you this question, because I want to make sure we get this answered, because I love hearing the different answers to this, because they're all good. But through all of what you've survived through and lived through and thrived in and everything, how do you find hope?
I had all my faith in the universe, and I was like, I know that the universe always has my back. I was like, I know that what's going on now, I know that I can and I will get through it. I could not stumble for a moment of the what ifs or the doubts or the this, or I just maintained unshakable faith in myself and in the universe that I would find the right people, the right opportunities at the time to help me move out of this and move to a beautiful path that I knew was awaiting me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it can't be all about you. That's just, it doesn't last very long. Doesn't last very long when it's, there's gotta be a higher purpose. Right. So
exactly.
What of these challenges, what about these challenges and everything that you've been through, looking back over all the time, is there anything that you can pull out of there that you're thankful for?
I'm thankful for the army of support I had around me that I could plug into for their strength. Like literally, sometimes I just felt like I wasn't going to make it. Like I didn't want to make it. Like maybe I would be a better mother from above than but my army of family and friends and guardian angels, like completely, I have to thank for getting me to where I am today.
Nice. And by the way, just out of curiosity, I don't know why, but just popped into my head. How's your son doing now?
Great.
Everything. I mean, great. I'm sure he's had a lot of work to do too. But,
oh man, when we were together, he developed a stutter. He reverted to bedwetting, and he was always, Mama, why are you so sad? Why are you crying? And he's doing amazing now. He's adjusted, he's adapted, he's thriving, he's got his giggle back, and he's got his mom back,
I love it. Because that can be that, because I mean, how old was he when all this kind of hit the fan? When
he was 3. He was 2, 3. Yeah.
So that's like a hugely impressionable. I mean, that's like
extremely.
That kind of stuff sticks, So
extremely.
Yeah, That's a lot of work, man. How old is he? And so that would make him, how old is he now?
He's 5 now.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a sweet little kid, man. That sounds awesome. I can't, like, that just, I mean, our kids are a little older. We've got, but I remember the 3, 4, 5-year-old. It's just, it's such a precious little, stage, and
it really is. So and this is when their brains are so malleable and are still developing. Like birth to age 8 are the most important developmental, like formative years of our life and our brains. And the stress can physically change our brains and rewire it. And not only that, I was like, I will not have him grow up to be like his father. I will not have him think that this is what love looks like, that this is how you treat other people. Like, absolutely not. So I derived a lot of strength in him, like seeing his precious little face that I knew. I was like, it's go time.
Go time. Well, I gotta say, I commend you to get him out of there so young, and not to put up with that any longer than you had to. And I mean, because he's still at a very, even now at 5, like you said, through 8 is about the time that the window that's like, okay, this is the impressionable time. So to get him out of there and to get the healing started and get get that giggle back already, man, is awesome. So yeah, it sounds like, I mean, he's gonna, man, I feel like the song, like, future's so bright, you got to wear shades, right? He's
exactly,
like, he's only 5, and he's already got all this ahead of him. So yeah, well
Very
done.
Cool. Thank you,
man. So being someone who's triumphed over all this, now that you can, right? Now that you're free, what kind of activities or hobbies have become kind of part of your life now that kind of helps you to, because you get rid of the bad, you got to fill it with good, right? You got to, once you get rid of that, you got to put something in its place. So what's going on there?
Well, spending time with my boys. I have 2 sons, one from a different relationship. Taking walks in nature. I was able to move by the beach, so just definitely going to the beach, especially for sunsets. Hanging out with my dogs, taking baths that I wasn't allowed to do.
And doing it for longer than 7 minutes, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a game changer.
That's crazy. I've never heard of, nothing surprises me anymore, but I've never heard of somebody putting a limit on
absurd.
Absolutely
absurd. Yeah.
Like, you got 4 minutes, dude, go. Come on, or whatever, like the military. But no, like, house.
Absurd. It's just absurd.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Well, that is phenomenal. I love it. So how do people reach you? How can people reach out to get in touch with you? I mean, is there a way that you would want people to be able to reach out to you if they need help?
Absolutely. Please do reach out to me, even if you think it's something minute. My email address is faithcecho@gmail.com. And that's how I can be reached. And I will absolutely get back to anybody who needs advice or just wants to vent, or any way that I can help. I'm here.
Okay. That's the best. So that's okay. That's where to reach out right there. Just, I'm going to do this instead. We're going to, where is it? Whoops. Nope. There we go. There we go. All right. There it is. faithcecho@gmail.com. Yeah, everybody, there it is. I'm going to just leave that up there for the rest of the show. Anybody needs it, that's where to reach out. So,
and I have my book too that I wrote that I really, really hope will help people, because in there too, I tell a lot of my scary stories, and I have a bunch of resources and a bunch of modalities of therapy that helped. And I think it's just a plethora of knowledge that people will pretty much feel like they have their PhD in narcissism once they finish reading the book.
That's amazing. What's the name of the book?
Rising from Ashes, a testament of strength and survival after narcissistic abuse.
Oof. That is a powerful title. I love it. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Do you happen to have one handy? I didn't grab one. I'm sorry. I didn't. I figured you might. Yeah, perfect. That's what you want to look for. And so can people get that? Do you like just Amazon, or what's the best place to find it?
It's on Amazon right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah. Check it out. That looks like an amazing book, and PhD. That's pretty good. Yeah. That's probably the shortest PhD course you'll ever take, but that, I mean, you've got the expert, right here teaching you. So it's, that's an amazing resource. So what message of hope and resilience do you have in general? I mean, we've got a couple minutes left here. What message would you have, especially those who might be, in the thick of it now, in a similar situation? What would you tell them?
Just get out. You cannot save a narcissist from themselves. You can only save yourself. So just get out, find the strength, love yourself. You are worthy, again, of a happy, healthy love unconditionally. So yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I promise that you can do it, and you too can get out and heal and thrive.
Nice. Is there anything specific to maybe somebody, like maybe a mother that is in this situation? Like you had to, I mean, with a child, that makes it, even more crazy. How, what would you tell them?
Don't stay for the children. I know a lot of people don't want to break up their homes, and if anything, you have to leave for the children. You need to leave for their well-being, because they also deserve happy lives, and they can't be raised on chaotic, unstable grounds, and if anything, derive your strength from them. And like I said, be very, very present with them, love them, and just be there for them, because they're going through it too. They're going through it too. Yeah.
And they probably understand less than you do with it. So
exactly.
You gotta, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So any upcoming projects going on that you want to get the word out about, or?
I'm just focusing on my book right now. Eventually I'm going to start doing oracle cards and do a workbook to go along with my book. So that'll be like journaling and some exercises, and yeah, I think that'll be very helpful, and I'm very excited about it.
When you expect, do you have like a rough estimate of when that'll be available, or are you still kind of in the working stage and not sure yet?
In the working stage. I'm shooting for spring. That would be ideal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. It's always good to get more resources out there, man. It's, especially if it's, especially from experience, it's the way to go. So
definitely.
Yeah. Well, awesome. We're about out of time. I know time flies. It almost is unbelievable that we're at the end right now, but we got about 2 minutes left. Is there any last words you want to leave with the audience?
Well, thank you for letting me come on your show and providing me this platform to share my message. I think it's a very, very important message. I think people need to get the word out about narcissists and abuse. June 1st every year is Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day, which is amazing. Yeah. Amazing. I just want people to get the word out and know exactly what narcissists are, what the abuse looks like, and how to get out and get help.
Awesome. Exactly. That's it. Yeah. Get out and get help, and do not stay if you don't have, that is the biggest message. Get out, get everybody out, right?
Get everybody out.
Yeah. And get help. So, oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Faith. I appreciate you being here today, and thank you for being so honest and real with everything, and being willing to get the message out, because that can be half the battle. Sometimes.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Man, okay. You know what? I don't know if anybody noticed in the background, but my dog is wearing a Santa hat because Christmas is only a few days away. So I just wanted to say to everybody, this has been an amazing year. Thank you so much for all the people watching and all the things that all the guests, all the companies that have come on, these last several months with this show has been absolutely, I mean, I can't imagine doing anything else. This is so amazing, and I've met so many incredible people, and I just want to wish everybody out there Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. May God bless you abundantly in the Christmas season and in the new year. And I just have an amazing day, have an amazing Christmas, and we will see you on the next episode. Have a great day.